Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Ledwell and this is the Inspiration Show. Today in the show I have a special guest whom I met at a seminar about a year ago. And since then we have been communicating, and he's actually been working with us. He's added some music to our MyMovie software, and today we're going to be talking about the power of music and how to really follow a calling when it presents itself to you. But before I introduce my special guest, I just want to remind you that if you are watching this show live on Facebook, or if you're watching it later on our YouTube channel, don't forget to click the link below this video after the show is over, so you can take my 30-second quiz and we can figure out what is holding you back from success. So please let me introduce my special guest, Mr. Craig Young. Hi, Craig. How are you?
Hi, Natalie. Nice to be here on the show today. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, an absolute pleasure. Now, like I was saying, we met about a year ago sitting in a Dr. Joe Dispenza workshop.
Yes.
And we were talking about the power of music. And, you know, obviously that is one of the most important ingredients when it comes to creating a mind movie. But before we get into that juicy conversation and about resonance and frequency and so forth, why don't we talk a little bit about your story? Because you haven't always been a musician, right? And this is something that's just popped up for you recently.
I would say that I've always been a musician, but I haven't truly recognized that. And I've kept it in the background. It's always been a part of my life. I've always composed, but I have another business and another career, and that has been ongoing for the last 20 years or so. And it has been at the forefront, but music is now sort of pushing to the forefront.
Yeah. So so from what I understand, that you were into music when you were much younger, but then it kind of went dormant for a while, but then something woke you back up again. Tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah, the music has been dormant but continual. So I just haven't really been sharing the music. I've been composing, and I've got hundreds of songs literally that have been composed and have just been sort of stored on my computer, and it has always felt like a calling that has been just sort of pushed down. But in recent years, life has evolved a little bit. There was something with a family member that got a bit of a trauma, and I started doing some reading on their behalf, just trying to help. And I've always been a reader, but it shifted from sort of realm of business and psychology to more of a spiritual realm, just looking for healing opportunities. That led me to the work of Joe Dispenza, who you mentioned, and others, and it just sort of woke up my entire reality, and made me realize that there's more going on than just our sort of physical existence and what we perceive through our senses. It was just a wake-up call, and through that some really good teachers that came into my experience, and in a more regular meditation practice, I just in a sense woke up, and that translated to more evolved musical compositions. And hearing the music and the new pieces, it just sort of drove me to finally share, and that's where I'm at a point where I'm really pleased with what I've created, and want to share it with the world.
Yeah. So yeah. It sounds like you have a story like probably a lot of the viewers have that are watching this show, where we fall into a life of responsibility. You know, we have a family, we have a business, you know, we're doing all of those kind of things. But then there is something kind of niggling at us, you know, that needs to come through. And obviously now you're having the courage to step into that and really pursue music. So tell me a little bit about your process. Like, you know, how do you know, you're composing music. It's not like you're just playing music. Like, right. What's your process, and how do you get into that, tap into that creativity?
Well, I think part of this sort of wake up and awareness led me to an awareness of when I'm playing the piano or sitting at a digital keyboard, you can either compose from an analytical level and you're thinking about the chords and what would work with this and that, or you can just let go and let something come through. And the latter is what's really exciting, getting into a state of flow, as it's often called, where the creation flows through you. And I'm at a point now where I recognize the difference between forced creation and really letting go. And I don't consider these pieces mine. I consider the fact that I'm more of a conduit and the music is just flowing through, and I'm privileged to have it come through. But that is an amazing process.
Yeah.
But in order to facilitate that, it's a matter of for me anyway, letting go. Sometimes even just playing to the point that you're in a meditative state. It's like meditation for me. And that's where it really connects.
Yeah. And that's really how, when we talk about, being a conduit, being in flow, we're also talking about getting out of the way, like having the ego part of us get out of the way so that can come through. But of course, that can apply to all areas of life. It's not just to music, but, I find that, when I'm speaking on stage or if I'm doing any kind of work, I try as best as I can to go like, use me as the vessel. Like, I want to make sure that what comes through is pertinent to this audience or to this person at this time in a way that they need to hear it. And I think that when we can get into that place of surrender, it's amazing what could come through. So tell me about, what you think is the role of music. Is there a certain purpose to it, do you think?
I think there's a surface level for music where people will listen to it in the background, or they'll listen to a pop song and it can bring up your energy. Also think there's a deeper level that you can connect to if you truly sit and listen to a piece of music, a classical piece of music with headphones on, where you're really tuning out anything else that's in the periphery. Like anything, I guess, if you're focusing on it exclusively rather than having a barrage of stimulus coming at you, you're going to get more from it. And I think using music in that way can really help you connect to something deeper. It can block out all of that external stimulus and have you sort of reconnect to something higher, something greater. And that's what I find when I'm listening to my own music. Obviously, I've got a bit of a bias, but I really feel that connection, and it centers me back. And I'm hoping that when others listen, they feel that same sense of connection.
Yeah.
But I love the way that music can just in an instant change your energy, change your frequency, and get you out of a bad mood. If you're down, it can just provide that immediate shift that you sometimes need. And relating that to mind movies, if you have a vision and the music is there, and that music just creates that emotion, I find even listening to the music without the movie at a latter point, you can reconnect to that whole vision and live through it again, which is amazing.
Yeah. No, I know. Well, you sent me a soul piece, a soul song that I did. I listened to it with headphones, and it was like I instantly felt my heart open up, and I felt an energetic change in my body, which is really how powerful music can be.
Yeah.
So I know that you have, like we said, you've included some music into the My Movies platform. So tell us a little bit about the tracks that you've added there and how they would really complement a My Movie.
They're part of this sort of new wave of music that has come through. To me, they're very personal, so they're therefore emotional. They don't have lyrics, so I find if somebody wants to create a mind movie and not be distracted by what somebody else is saying, they can just have the music there and tap into that, and then create their own thoughts and their own words through the text that you put into the mind movie as well. But I find for me the music that's coming out right now is peaceful. It's piano centered. So if somebody's looking at creating a mind movie to help reduce stress or anxiety, just put them in a peaceful place, then I would love it if people had to listen to the music and tried it out with their mind movies. That would be a big compliment for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's the pieces that you've provided are just amazing, and you, like you said, I mean, I think for everyone it's different, but and I always try and use different styles of music with my mind movies as well. You
Yeah.
know, if I'm doing a health and fitness one, I'm always something up tempo, because normally I'm watching it in bed, trying to motivate myself to get out of bed to get to the gym.
No,
Or,
this might keep you. This might keep you in bed. So.
no, right, yeah. Exactly. So I need to at least be out and up and about. So tell me a little bit more about some of the stuff that you're working on now. I know that you have a website set up that has music there. So what you know, what are the styles of music that you do, or what are the types of music that people can seek out when they connect with you?
I feel like I can create just about anything. I have a digital studio down here, and on the computer these days, it's like having a virtual orchestra. I have choirs and symphonies and percussion. I have a grand piano over to my right, which I love creating on. That's where I can sit and play, and ideas seem to flow through best. But what resonates most strongly to me at the moment in terms of style are the pieces that are centered around the piano, with choir, with strings. As I said before, it's meditative, it's soothing. So that's what I've sort of put out there in the world at the moment. I'm working on a few meditation pieces at the moment with a former guest from Anger. So he and I have connected, and we're working on a few things together, and that's very exciting. So that's where I'm at the moment, but who knows, as my life evolves, where the music will evolve to as well.
Exactly. Because it does. When I listen to your music, I'm like, I could easily meditate to this. It's like I could easily go onto on a journey with this, which is so cool. And the fact that you're collaborating with other people, you know, that are doing meditations, it just, you know, it's a kudos to you, darling, because I know this is something that you've just recently, you know, stepping into, and I suppose it takes a little bit of courage to do something like this.
It does, because as I said, music was, to me, very personal. I still don't like playing in front of people. That's something that I am overcoming, and I will. I'm sure I'll end up performing the piano at some point within the next few years in front of groups of people. But it has always been kind of personal and quiet. So for me to kind of open up and share it with everybody, I mean, it's just been too long, and I kind of hit that tipping point where I said to myself, look, this is enough. And I had that vision in a mind movie back at the conference that you and I attended. Then it came to fruition. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it is. Well, I think if people wanted to connect with you and reach out to you and get their hands on some of your music, where can we send them to do that?
They can go to my website, which is just craigyoungmusic.com. From there are samples to listen to, and there are links to go to iTunes if you want to purchase the pieces. They can go into their Mind Movie software and search for my name within the music there, and try it out within a Mind Movie, which would be excellent. And on my website, there's an email address, and I'd be happy to hear from anybody that has feedback or is interested.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, darling, thank you so much for joining me today. And you know, and I encourage everyone to if you already have access to Mind Movies, to get in there and apply Craig's music to your Mind Movie, because it seems to take it to a whole other level. It's quite beautiful. So thank you again, Craig, for your time today. It's always a pleasure talking to you, mate.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Thanks everybody for listening, and I hope you end up hearing my music.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, I encourage you to share this video. Let's get the word out by clicking the Facebook and the Twitter share buttons on this page, and click on the banner or the link underneath around the video, wherever that is. So you can go directly through to Craig's website. And don't forget to, after the show's over, to click that link below the video so you can take our 30-second quiz to figure out what's holding you back from success. So until next time, remember to live large, choose courageously, and love without limits. We'll see you soon.